Listen to Jatenjor interviews and watch them. Subscribe on YouTube and support what these guys are doing because it's awesome, very unique and awesome.
Sí, bienvenido, gracias por la oportunidad y bueno, agradecemos por este espacio. Yo sí quisiera preguntarle sobre, ahí está el álbum de Self Loather, que es sobre, obviamente, el baño fantasma, todo lo relacionado, pero algo que me interesó es la portada. La portada, bueno, es un importante historiador de un museo licenciado en estas comparaciones de espectros. Entonces quisiera preguntarle sobre cómo fue la colaboración de él con la banda para realizar este bello póster.
Hey, I'm happy that John do this question because I also got like that. Man, I love all the album covers from the band, and I know that from Self Loather, you use something from Estislav Belsinski. I hope I pronounce it right. So yeah, man, how this collaboration gets, and if you can tell us also about the previous one album, go ahead because I really love all the art that the band got in the album covers.
Yeah, and just did a lot of like very surreal, dark art and stuff like that. Yeah, we actually it's kind of a process to get that art. We had to contact a museum in Poland, and it took them a long time to get back to us, and eventually they did give us permission to use it. But yeah, but we have been sending ideas back and forth to each other for potential album art, and when we saw that painting, immediately we all knew that was the one. It expressed the sound of the record so perfectly. And yeah, I feel really lucky that they allowed us to use it. And because when we first tried to get in contact with that museum, they just kind of ignored us for a long time. So eventually they got back to us, so we got really lucky there. And yeah, but I mean, in general, the art's always been important, because the record before this one, Starmourner, we had a friend from Romania do the art for that one. She worked really hard on that. And so yeah, it's always something that we put a lot of effort and or not really effort, but consideration. We spend a lot of time just sitting around talking, how do we want it to look. We always want the look of the album to match how it sounds.
De hecho, yo sí quisiera preguntarle sobre, bueno, ese álbum de Self Loather que habla sobre no solo, por ejemplo, hay una parte que se llama La sangre cristalina, habla sobre la manera en cómo el alma sale del cuerpo, pero sí quisiera preguntarle sobre qué tan significativo es Jatenjor en este álbum, qué tan lejos ha llegado luego de experimentar este álbum.
This is a great question from John, man. And also because we know how Self Loather was well received, man. How do you feel your involvement, your participation in this album as a musician, man? And I got more questions about this album, but let's start with that one.
Yeah, the album was kind of I'd say a very collective effort between all the members. Because if you break it down, like basically me and the vocalist and the other guitar player, we all I think contributed around 3 song ideas each, and then as a group we would finish the songs all together in a studio, just jamming on them together in a studio. So it was a very it was a really fun writing process, because basically one of us, I would let's say I would just sit at home and write a riff, write part of a song, and then just bring it to the table, bring it to the studio the next day, and then we would all finish it together as a group. So I really love writing that way, and it was like a very collaborative and unified, process. And actually, the last song on that record was a song that I wrote probably all the way back in like 2014, I think. I had wrote it when our vocalist had just started the band, and he was just kind of working on it by himself at home, and he asked me if I wanted to be part of it. And I thought about it, but I was like too busy with my other band at the time, but I still like started writing this song anyway, just for fun, and then never did anything with it until we were writing this record. So it's kind of awesome, just like how that came full circle. You know, the song that I wrote like almost 10 years ago, now it finally ends up on this record, and you know, so yeah, it was a very like I said, just a very collective process, everybody working together, and you know, and that's how I like to make music, you know.
It's great that you talk about collaborations, man, because in this album appear two amazing musicians that are CJ Mahon from Starmourner and Graf from one of my favorite bands as Psychonaut 4, man. So tell us how was, yes, this collaboration, because it's a really, really great team doing great music together, man.
Yeah. I mean, it was honestly, it was really easy to work with those guys. You know, we just, you know, we had toured with Die Hard is Murder a long time, you know, back in like 2017, I think, or something like that. And he always liked our band, so we kind of liked the idea of him doing vocals, because you know he comes from the more like deathcore genre, you know, and there's a lot of those like black metal purists that say that we're just posers and blah blah blah. So so we kind of just wanted to like piss them off even more by just like inviting like a deathcore vocalist to do the spot, and and he seems like he was really into it and he liked it a lot. So, and then with Psychonaut, we were trying to book a tour with them like a few years, I think like before COVID. Really, we had been trying to like book something with them, but it didn't work out. But so our vocalist and Graf, I think his name is, yeah, they were, you know, talking, corresponding, whatever, and that was super easy. We just sent it out to him, just said, hey, do whatever you want with this, and he sent it back. It was, you know, it was really easy, and that part came out. That's probably that might be my favorite song on the record, that one. So yeah, and that was actually the last song that we wrote for the record, and I had just started figuring out this new guitar tone that I just really was into, and I don't know, I just love how that song turned out. So yeah, it was really easy working with them. Like, I don't know, we just kind of gave them the song, said, here, do whatever you want.
Man, it's great that you say it. In fact, I always mock of the true fundamentalists of metal, whatever. And one of the things that I love from the band, when I started to listen it with when it was Moonlover came out.
Yeah.
But of course, I listened to Funeral, to Starmourner, to Self Loather.
Yep.
It's not, I don't know how to say, unclassifiable. I mean, the band used sometimes like reads from post-hardcore, and you can say, oh, this is blood, this is depressive blood, this is blood gaze. No, man, and it's unclassifiable. And when somebody, because I you know those people start hating a band, I start getting more interested in that band.
Yeah.
Than why then hated. I got to say, I know that you don't participate fully in the album, but the Silver Flower Part 2 is one of my favorite songs ever. I freaking love that song. But I love how the band, and when you started, the like not the changes, but man, the experiments that the band get. I mean, it's great to listen. Finally, Dennis singing songs, but I love his vocal style, man. I know sometimes people get divisive, but man, you know that people sometimes say this is like if person keep doing the old music with new sound, it will sound like that, man, with the vocals, with the experimentation. So I understand the elites, man. The only thing I will say is keep continuing doing your work, man. You are doing it awesome, and for those guys. I need to say as a fan of the band, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Yep. And I'm glad that you appreciate that. And you know, I think it comes, you know, I think we got really lucky in the fact that all the members of the band, we've all known each other for such a long, I mean, we're in different bands together and stuff in our late teens, early 20s, and playing, you know, hardcore, death metal, all different genres of music. You know, we've never been tied down to one genre, you know, and so now today, even today, it's like when someone brings an idea to the table, we never judge it. We never sit there and say, oh, it's too heavy or it's too soft or this or that. We just trust each other, you know, whatever we want to bring to the table, we just say, all right, cool, let's jam on it and let's see where it goes. You know, like there's just we don't sit there and plan out ahead of time like, oh, we want to be, you know, a post black metal band. We want to sound like a mix of Deaf Heaven and a mix of like, we don't do that shit. We just trust each other and we just write from the heart, you know, and I don't know, man. Yeah, it's just a different way of doing things than I think a lot of other bands, you know. And then I think it's good. And with the new record, like, with the vocals, you know, like I don't know, like it wasn't even really like a thought of thing. Really what it came from is because on tour during sound check, we would always like improvise these like brutal death metal songs. You know, like just kind of like make up a like super like slammy death metal song on the spot during sound check. And then Dennis would start doing those like super guttural vocals. And we just thought I think we were touring with like Dying Fetus at the time or something like that, you know? So it was like we wanted to like sound, you know, like do that kind of thing. And we just thought he could do it really well. And we just kind of like, let's just make a really fucking nasty, dark record, you know?
También te quiero preguntar, Tim, y es sobre todo el concierto que vas a hacer por toda Norteamérica. Toda Norteamérica, es que es más importante. El iTunes Asylum Tour, el 2022 de este año, lo más importante para obviamente cerrarlo. Pero te pregunto, aparte de este tour, ¿tiene pensado, vos va a venir a Latinoamérica, Colombia, Cúcuta, no sé, de pronto que escuchen esta entrevista, le gustaría estar acá en Colombia? ¿Cómo quiere que sea?
And I hope that the answer from this question is a yes. But yes, John is asking about the Autumn Asylum Tour 2022 that you will go, and it's crazy for all North America. But man, I know that it's not from you; it's more from the sponsors. But there are plans from South America, man. You won't believe it. I talk about this interview that also thank you for being is this channel, of course, to one of my friends, and it's crazy because yes, in South America there are a lot of elites, but also there are a lot of people. In fact, there is like a movement called the post black metal from Bogota in Colombia. There's a lot of great bands like Voragine. I was talking with the man from Last Man Bread, Milo. Hi, Milo. And it was wow. You will talk with Tine, yes, of course. And I was talking also with some friends from Mexico, from Guatemala, and they're like yes because is not true then in Latin America. Yes, there are still bands that are still sounding like the 80s sound or trash or about, and I don't hate it, but I think that there are always room for I won't say new sounds, but improved sounds because you know that this movement is not new. You got years and years, but there are plans from going to South America, man, and hopefully Colombia, and hopefully this little city called Cucuta. I don't know.
I mean, we are definitely trying to break into that part of the world. We actually, so back in the spring, we did a tour with Rotting Christ. Yeah, and actually, and I wasn't on that tour. I just had my second daughter was just born right before that tour started. So, you know, I stayed home with the baby. I had a friend of mine fill in on guitar for me. But yeah, I guess Rotting Christ's manager, I guess he really liked us. And so he's been like helping us. He's been like trying to get us on some festivals in Mexico. And so far we just haven't been able to break into it. And I think a lot of it is because you know, like people, especially like the older, like more old school metal kind of guys, like they need to see us live and then their whole attitude about us changes. You know what I mean? Like they think we're fucking posers, blah blah blah. But like once they see us live, they recognize that we're the real deal. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what happened with that guy too. You know, and he's been really nice, and he's been submitting us to festivals and stuff, and we haven't got into any yet, but we're just gonna keep working at it, because yeah, we really want to get down there, because everybody knows that like people love metal in that part of the world, you know, and like I just feel like we would do really well there, you know. And so yeah, after this, it'd be great if you could even just like send me some links to these bands that you're talking about and stuff, like just so like we can familiarize ourselves with some of them, you know. And like, yeah, man, I really want to get down there. I really do. Hopefully, like somebody, one of these promoters takes a chance on us, you know what I mean? And like, so I'm sure we'll get down there. It's just, you know, that's how it's always been for us. Like I said, people kind of have these weird perceptions about us, and then once they see us live, they're just like, oh shit, these guys, you know what I mean? Like they recognize it. And yeah, so we just need one chance. Like we just need one chance to like prove what we're all about, you know what I mean? And they're gonna, because we're like a live band. Like we put so much fucking heart into our live performances, and you know, and I think it's just undeniable. So I think once they give us a chance, we'll be able to go down there every year, you know, like, which I would love to be able to do, you know. And as far as that tour goes, I have some really shitty news about that. So that's not happening, or it's actually getting. I think it's going to get postponed until next year sometime. Um, the other band fucked up their visas. I don't want to. I don't want to talk too much shit about them, because, like, you know, I understand. Like, the visa process to get into the States is like really tricky, and like, you know what I mean. So, yeah. So I don't want to talk too much shit about them, because like we're gonna end up touring with them eventually. I don't want there to be any weird, you know, bad blood between us or anything like that. But yeah, they kind of they kind of fucked it up, you know, and like they basically trusted someone to do the job, to do it for them, and that guy didn't know what he was doing, and he totally dropped the ball, and so they don't have visas, and there's really no way for them to get here. So shitty situation. We just found out about it yesterday. You know, it sucks, man. It really sucks.
And I will mention the band. Of course, I know what band is, and I really like that band. But because it's not their fault, it's for I know, man. In fact, in my little city, I did a concert years ago with some bands from Colombia, and I know where the people that sometimes the bands trust fell. But yes, I will ask John the favor. I will share the links with John. John will share you the links. John, te voy a compartir. Tim me pidió el favor de que le compartiera links de bandas colombianas. Yo se las voy a compartir para que tú te las compartas. And hopefully, man, I know this channel is growing. So any sponsor interested on Ghostbat in Latin America, South America, Colombia, please. And I got the final question. Because yes, man, you were talking about your other projects, and I read that you're on a project that it's like an stoner metal band. Tell us more about that. Or what are your other projects?
Yeah, Stone Marrow. Yeah, that's me and the other guitar player and the bass player. Yeah, and it's just like we haven't been able to really work on it lately, but I think now that COVID is over and everything like that, we'll definitely be able to. But yeah, that was kind of just like a side project, or a passion project kind of thing that we were doing in the same recording studio that we recorded Self Loather in. And it was just kind of like there's some like different things we wanted to experiment with the guitars, and just like, you know, some material that wouldn't quite work with Ghost Bath, we didn't think. And so we kind of just started a whole different project for it. And yeah, I love how those songs turned out, and like I hope that we can pick that up again and like write some more music. And I think there's the song on Self Loather called Shrines of Bone. That was actually originally a Stone Marrow song, and then but then that was one of those ones that like it could go to either band, and it was like, well, let's use it for Ghost Bath and like see how it turns out. So yeah, and yeah, I don't know, it's like it was just like a fun project we did, but I thought it turned out really good, you know. And like it's kind of that same it's that same style of like mixing different genres and like being very experimental with like the influences and stuff, and just letting the music go wherever it wants to. And I love doing it. I still listen to those songs like in my car and stuff, you know, like I think they're fucking awesome. So I hope we can like keep going with that eventually, like play some shows and stuff like that. That'd be really cool.
You made my day.
I'm glad you found it. Yeah.
Yes. Jhon, lo que tú digas, yo estoy feliz.
Bravo.
Bravo. Of course, tell your social media so people can follow you, social media from the band, and send a hi to wherever you want, to the channel, to Colombia, to Latin America. And man, the camera is yours. And tell there are some news that, oh, please stay tuned for some new info. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like thanks for having me on. Thanks for hitting me up, and like, you know, part of the reason that I was excited to talk to you guys is because, like I said, we really do want to break into that part of the world, you know, and like I think that just based off of everything I've heard about South America and Mexico, that like you guys love metal and are very open-hearted and open-minded about music, and I just feel like we would do really well there, and I feel like people would really enjoy like how much effort we, you know, put into our live shows, and you know, I just think it would be fucking great. So I really want to get down there, and that's why I was excited to talk to you guys. Any exposure we can get to your part of the world, you know, like any exposure we can get, we want it. And like I said, we do have people helping us, trying to break us through into that market, into that, you know, into that scene, into that crowd. So yeah, hopefully it works out. So I mean, thanks to just all of our supporters down there, you know, who listen to us, who appreciate us, you know, people like you who see deep into the music and like see way past those like surface level things that people say about it, you know, and like, I don't know, man, it's awesome talking to you. It just makes me want to get down there that much more. So hopefully you're not too jealous of that Autumn Asylum tour now that you know it's not even happening. So you know, but yeah, as far as like future stuff, we're gonna try to reschedule that. I don't know. It just depends on what other offers. Like, there's a couple other like potential tours that we're looking at for like late spring, early summer next year. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what comes in. It's a huge bummer. I mean, you know, we put in so much work into this tour and like so much preparation, and you know, I'm really bummed out that we're not going to be doing it. It's going to be really hard to stay home and like sit around and wait for the next one. But yeah, I hope it's coming soon, and I hope we can get down to you guys soon, you know? So just thanks to all of our supporters. Thanks to everybody who bought a ticket for this tour, who is looking forward to it. We'll just make it up to you guys next time. Yeah, and we do. We're gonna probably start. We're actually supposed to get together tomorrow and jam on like a riff that I just wrote recently. So we're actually gonna start writing for the next record soon. Yeah, because we're kind of like, well, now we're stuck at home, so let's do something to stay active and not, you know what I mean, and not get too depressed and down about it. So yeah, we're probably just gonna start writing stuff for the next record, and we have some like crazy ideas for the next record. So yeah.
And by the way, I was telling some of my friends, all of their bands, that I will share their material to you. I know they will what? Yes, no, they deserve it, man. All the bands from the world that are trying to do things. I won't say new. I would say great things, because I love all the genres of metal. Need support, and I know. I remember when the band started, when Ghostbusters started. I know with that crazy thing. This band is from China. That happened in Funeral. Later with Moonlovers, from this one of my favorite albums. The materials that with Starmourner, that amazing Self Loather, man. And not only from your band, I really love all this explosion, man. I don't got hatred. I only got great words from all these bands, you know, Ghostbusters, Mole, The Heaven, Isis,
we love those guys.
Yeah. And in fact, it's crazy. There is a phrase. You listen to one of your songs. In fact, I share Moonlover back in the day. So to a friend, he said, "Oh my God, this music is perfect for listening in a cold, rainy day." But if you listen to your songs or the songs from Mold, from Harakiri from the Sky, even from Alter or Place, man, they're heavy. They're heavy stuff. This is not, I don't know why the haters told shit, because this is heavy stuff. And of course, Heretoir. So kudos, man. Thank you for choosing. Oh, and I need to tell you, before I tell you, you mentioned Rotting Christ, man. I think that Christos Antonio, yes, from Set This Flesh, will be on this channel, and it's great because I interviewed him back in the days when I worked on press. And it will be awesome. It will be awesome because you know that he also collaborated with Rotting Christ and then Santos Diabolos and those amazing. Yes, he was the producer from those albums.
Oh, when you talk to that guy, tell him that we want to tour with them.
If you can be Jhon, que tiene el día la entrevista con Christos.
Yes.
Please if you can be on the interview, man, go ahead. You are more than welcome that day.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It'd be awesome to touch base with him because there's actually one riff on the new record that we always call like the Septic Flesh riff because it reminds. So
what era of Septic Flesh, man?
It's on oh god, what's that song called? I think it's the fourth track on the record.
The Grey Mass? No. What album?
From Self Loather.
No, but for what song of Septic Flesh, or what era of the band?
I don't know. You'd have to ask our vocalist. I don't know. He's the one who kind of like came up with that, so that just became like the thing. I don't know.
Dennis, you have to tell us, man.
Yeah, I'll try to figure it out exactly. So then yeah, if we link up later, I can tell him. But yeah, we really want to tour with that band, so I think it's possible, and yeah, it'd be awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, listen to Jatenjor interviews and watch them. Subscribe on YouTube and support what these guys are doing because it's awesome, very unique and awesome.
Like
Thank you, man.
Very and awesome.
Gracias por la oportunidad y la verdad le deseamos lo mejor y mucho éxito.
No, man, thank you so much for me. In fact, I had to thank Jhon, gracias. Because when he told me that.
Es un sueño cumplido.
No, it's a dream.
Real dream, man. Real dream.
Hopefully you'll be later here talking of your work, of course, on talking with Christos, and say a big hi to the guys from the band, man. To Dennis and team, man.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Buenas noches. Bye.
Good night.
Yes, good night. Have a good night.
Bye. Bye.